Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. I'm back home finally. Woohoo. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, has got a bee in her bonnet about her employment rights bill. She says it's magnificent. It's the most important piece of workers' legislation ever. And she's proud to be bringing it to the front. And she says it's going to be great. It will transform the way people work. Yes, it will. People will be out of work. It will stop all kinds of jobs. People just won't get hired. And of course, we've been saying that here for a long time because no boss is going to take the risk of hiring anybody, not based on this legislation. It's an absolute deal breaker. It's going to be anti-growth, anti-productive. It's going to lead to higher rates of unemployment. It's going to see a lot of companies, shops, businesses, whatever, go into administration, and the whole country will start slowing down and crashing and burning. But hey, as far as Angela Rayner is concerned, that's a good thing, apparently. But it looks like that isn't going to happen, or at least it's not going to happen quite so quickly. It looks like it's going to be watered down. Now, a lot of people in the business society, in the business arena, thought that this would be a very pro-business Labour government, perhaps the most pro-business Labour government ever, given the things they were saying, and by saying I mean lying about, in the run-up to the election. But this proposed employment rights bill puts the kibosh on that. And now Labour ministers themselves, others, are actually starting to backpedal and starting to tell Rayner she needs to change this, change that, take certain things out, water things down, because it's going to damage the country so much. And a lot of pressure, of course, is coming from the Treasury. Now, the Business Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, a man who for a long time told absolute porky pies, complete and utter lying to your face, that he was a solicitor. So you can't really believe anything that comes out of that lying gob. Said he was considering an exemption to 0-hour contracts. Remember, Labour for years promising to get rid of 0-hour contracts, saying that they were unfair to staff. And then actually we were employing people on 0-hour contracts at the same time. So the hypocrisy is strong in the Labour Party. But anyway, Reynolds said that some of these 0-hour contracts are likely going to have to remain. Otherwise, they won't get anyone to work them. Well, yeah, that's what everyone's been saying for a long time. He's saying that they need to get people outside of the scope of the bill. They want to have lots of exemptions on various positions and jobs that won't come under the Employment Rights Bill. Well, surely, if it's an Employment Rights Bill and you're employed, you have the rights. But apparently, no. That's annoying. Well, the CBI chairman, Rupert Soames, he said with the combination of Angela's workers' rights bill and the very punitive taxes now coming in on employers, he said all the bosses up and down the country, all, in his words, exceedingly pissed off. He said, that it's going to destroy growth, jobs, production. It's going to end a lot of companies. He's actually saying that he's getting his members coming to him to say they don't know how they can go forward under these proposals. A lot of them won't. And they'll just say, well, I'll tell you what, we'll lift production from this country and go and put it in another country where they don't have these rights, and we can carry on making the product and the profit, just not here in Britain. Good job, Angela. You're a genius. What would we do without you, apart from prosper? Anyway, the OBR is also jumping on this let's beat up Angela Rayner bandwagon. They've described her, quote, transformative package, this once-in-a-generation chance to reshape the world of work, as she keeps trying to spin it, and they've said it's going to be disastrous. That's not the words they used, but you read between the lines, and that's what they're implicating. They sounded the alarm. They're saying there's lots of negative impacts that's coming forward. And they've been saying it ever since it was announced. But nobody in Angela Rayner's office was, listening. Fingers in ears, la, 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 I can't hear you. I don't want to hear that my idea is a bag of shit, even though it is. And everyone knows it is. Even her colleagues now are coming out and saying, well, it may be too far in some areas. We may need to reshape the wording in other areas. And all that sort of stuff, meaning even they think it's a, bag of shit. what can you do? They're saying that new employment regulations are often too harsh and don't meet the flexibility of many businesses. The fact that you're giving rights to someone day one that they would normally have to acquire over time means nobody's going to be hired unless they've got an exceptional work record, which means young people aren't going to get hired. Why would you hire a 16-year-old, have to pay him the same as a 21-year-old, and he gets the full rights on day one without ever having contributed to the company? It's clearly awkward, shall we say. But what's happening now as well is her wearing her other hat, takes off business workers' rights bill and puts on housing bill hat. It will actually stop her building her houses. A lot of trades rely on apprentices and training people up to come through to be able to do those trades. Well, if, according to this law, a young lad comes in day one as an apprentice, he'll still have to be paid the same as a master craftsman, because that's the law. What builder in his right mind is going to pay some 16-year-old spotty youth, to come in to be, a trainee, chippy, bricklayer, whatever, and pay them the same as some guy who's been, crafting his trade for 30 years? It's ridiculous. So, you're going to lose all these apprenticeships. And then the whole building trade will go down. You've got other things in the supply lines and things like that. All these people just aren't going to be there. Her houses won't get built because of her own employment rights law. Do you know, if I wasn't already aware that how dumb she is, I mean, seriously dumb, I would swear that she was doing it on purpose. But we know she's not. You can't blame this on Angela being evil. You just blame it on Angela being dumb. But what do you do? She was never the brightest button, was she? But government spokesman has said, his words, "We are not considering a carve-out for seasonal workers. We are not considering changing or watering down any aspects of the bill. There are many ways that employers could approach different demands that their businesses need while upholding the new rights." Okay, there is. What you do is simple. You make it a temporary contract and you employ people for 12 weeks. And at the end of 12 weeks, you fire them and get someone new in. There you go. Problem solved if you're an employer, isn't it? Dearie me. But they say we've got to make work pay. So we're going to get everyone on the dole, off the dole. We're going to cut all their benefits. If you're on PIP and you need your money, we're going to cut that, and then you've got to go and work. And at the same time, we're destroying all the jobs. We hope you all starve to death. That's the government line. I hear they're thinking of reopening workhouses and debtors' prisons just to, house the people in this country. The surplus population, as Scrooge would say. Thanks very much. Bye.